Hello, everyone. Welcome to a totally awesome Tuesday Night Live. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm happy that you're here, and I hope that you'll find these card tutorials helpful for you tonight. So let's go ahead and see who we have on, and we will get started in a couple of minutes. About 30 seconds. Too early. Oh, there it is. It says it's exactly 7 o'clock now, so let's see what happens. See if I can find the video here. And see who's on. Let's see, here we go. Okay, I guess we'll do it the other way. It's not gonna let me do it the way I want to, but here we go. Let's go this way. And there we are. It's showing me live. And here we are, ready to go. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna move that over just a touch. We have more space there to work with. And we'll give it just a minute or two. It's been a busy day. Had to run into Salem today to take my husband in for emergency dental, and we did that, and then did some time at Costco, got home. Hello, Cynthia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, look, we have a party hat up here flying around. Let's put that inside our stamp case. Going to be using Turtley Awesome tonight. And I've got 2 cards for you. I did manage to get 2 done. It was kind of a crazy busy weekend, and then with the emergency dental today, it got even crazier. So let's go ahead and talk about some housekeeping items while we're waiting for people to come on. Stampin' Up! Announced this afternoon that starting June 3rd through the 30th, there will be a buy one, get one 50% off on all sweets and sweet products. What that means for you is that you can go and buy any of the components within a suite. You don't have to buy the whole suite, but you can. And then your next item that's from a suite would be half off. So let's say you pick a suite and then you pick a bundle. You're going to get the suite at half off, then the bundle at half off. Okay? Or, I mean, the suite you'll pay full price for. The higher item you'll pay full price for, and the lower priced item you'll pay half price. So be careful when you're putting things into your carts on how you do that so that you don't end up not getting the best discount. That's all I can say about that. And again, that will start on June 3rd. And that's at 12:01 a.m. Mountain Time. So here in the Pacific Northwest, it will actually be June 2nd at 11:01 p.m. And it goes through June 30th at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. Again, for us here in the Pacific Northwest, that means it's June 30th at 10:59 p.m. Okay, so it's an hour shorter. We get to start on June 2nd at 11 p.m., but it ends at 11 p.m., basically 10:59 p.m. on the 30th. Don't wait until after 11 o'clock here in the Pacific Northwest on June 30th, because you will have missed the sale. And of course, everything is while supplies last. So if they run out of something, then you're not going to be able to get it. Okay? So, and you can actually go onto my online store right now and look at all the things that we have in suites. Just go to the menu and then products and then shop suites. Okay? And I also wanted to make you aware, if you are a scrapbooker or you want to explore scrapbooking, there is a virtual album retreat that Stampin' Up! Is planning. It's a 3-day retreat. It goes from 2 to 10:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So that here in the Pacific Northwest, 1 to 9:30 p.m. And that's July 16th through the 18th, so all 3 days. And the way to get into that is to purchase the month-by-month album retreat. Now, the cost of that month-to-month album retreat is $250. You will earn Stampin' Rewards on that $250. And then these, I printed out a photo of the contents of the kit that you will receive with that purchase. There is no album to put your pages in, but you do get, it looks like, 4 exclusive stamp sets, flip flaps, some embellishments, some baker's twine. These are page placeholders. There will be some page kits that you'll have, some page covers, and then some die cuts and things that will go along with that for your $250. Okay? All right. Moving on. Hello, Tracy. Glad to see you on. Okay. So we will be using Turtley Awesome tonight. And I have a Turtley Awesome birthday card for you to start with. And so let's go ahead and get started because there's quite a bit of stamping. I've actually done the stamping and the die cutting and the coloring because there was a lot. But I'm going to show you what you need. In addition to the Turtley Awesome bundle, because I used both the stamp and die bundle, and remember, Turtley Awesome dies, this is part of the Turtle Suite, so this will be on sale. Buy one, get one half off from June 3rd to June 30th if you didn't already get it. Hello, Laura. Hello, Jennifer. Okay, so for those of you who just joined, I didn't want you to miss this. I'm going to go real quick back over it. Buy one, get one 50% off on all suites and suite products beginning June 3rd through the 30th. Okay, so if the whole suite isn't available, you can order individual products within the suite and you still can get them buy one, get one half off. You do not have to stay within the suite. You can order products from any of the suites. And there are a lot of suites that I didn't even know still existed because I thought they had retired, like the Lily Pond Lane and the To Market suite. Those are still there. They're in the online store. So you can, if you had some things that you hadn't picked up, some bundles, some papers, whatever, those are going to be buy one, get one half off. Be careful how you put things in your cart because you're going to pay for the higher priced item and get the lower priced item at half off. So might want to think about that when you're doing your shopping. Okay, so in addition to Turtley Awesome tonight, we're going to be using the embossing folder, which is called Turtle Textures. We're also going to be using the Designer Series paper in that suite, Turtley Cute, and that actually is the name of the suite, Turtley Cute. And we will be using the embellishments from that suite, Shades of Green, hexagons, okay? So let's set those up there so maybe I won't forget to put those on. And actually, I don't think I put them on this card, but we might do that anyway. Okay, so let's see. I had those in the other one. I think I just messed that all up. That's okay. We'll get it figured out. We're also going to be using the Year of Flowers. Okay. Specifically tonight, I'm going to be using the June Rose. I'm making this card for a June birthday. Okay. So let's go ahead and set these aside. And I did not pre-do that, so I will have to grab the large Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Our card base is thick basic white, 5.5 by 8.5. I've scored it at 4.25 in the middle. Let's see, we can burnish this down, keep it all nice and straight. So we've got that. Okay, we're also using the perennial postage dies on this card. So I've got that, and we're using the largest of the perennial postage dies. And then we're using the Stylish Shapes dies, and we're using this banner for our sentiment right there. Okay. Color palette, Summer Splash, Daffodil or Lemon Lolly, and Coastal Cabana for our ink pads, in addition to the Memento Tuxedo Black. And then we basically have a couple pieces of regular basic white cardstock. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our ink blending. This is a piece of cardstock. This is just a quarter sheet of cardstock. I'm going to emboss it and then cut it down. So we're going to start with Coastal Cabana. So we're going to ink this up. And we're going to go about 1/3 of a way down. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to go ahead and clean this. I wanted to show you how I clean it. I just take a chamois cloth that's barely wet, rub that on there, and then take a microfiber cloth and rub it back and forth. Okay? And I'm doing that because I'm going to go from Coastal Cabana into Summer Splash. And I do this normally. I don't have a blending brush for every color. So we have to do a little bit of cleaning in between so that we don't mix our colors. Not that it would be a tragedy by any means, especially between Coastal Cabana and Summer Splash. Oh, you know what? I used this on something else, and I don't think I cleaned it a much darker color than the Lemon Lolly. So let's give that a quick little wipe, because I definitely don't want a darker. I think I used Darling Duckling, and I don't want it to be that dark. So we're going to use some Lemon Lolly. I'm going to go in the middle here. I'm going to overlap into that Coastal Cabana some. Okay, got that. And then we're going to move on to Summer Splash. And I'm just going to clean my glass mat in between with the chamois that comes with it. Mine's a little bit on the wetter side than I usually have it. Okay, so now we're going to go with Summer Splash. And again, I'm going to overlap. into the yellow. Okay, there we go. Good enough. Okay. So let's grab our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and our turtle textures. Oops. Almost grabbed the wrong sandwich. Okay. So the turtle textures is a regular embossing folder. So for my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I need plate 1. Then I need plate 3. My embossing folder with my cardstock. And then another plate 3 on top. Okay. And we're going to run that right through the Big Boss. And you'll know right away if you don't have the right sandwich. It'll either be too tight or too loose, neither of which works well. Okay, so now we've got that. And here is our piece. Okay, so now we're going to trim this down to 3.5 by, let me measure, 3.5 by 4, and I know it's 3.5. 3.5 by 4 3/4. Yep, 3.5, 4 3/4. That's what we need to trim this down to. 4.5 by 3 3/4. Okay, so we're going to go 3 3/4. No, 3.5 by 4 3/4. I'm going to get it right. Okay, now I'm going to take part of that off on the bottom and part off on the top, just because I don't want to lose all of the color. And then we're going to keep this because we're going to use that inside our card. Okay, so now we have this piece, and this is now ready to go on our basic black large perennial postage die. Remember, this is the largest one, and we cut it in basic black. So we're going to go ahead and add this on. And I'm not doing any ribbon treatments or anything like that, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. And I'm using Tombow Multi-Purpose Liquid Glue because it's a 3D embossing folder. And so we're just going to line that up. It should fit just about perfectly in those little postage. Okay, so there's where we're at. Now, let's go ahead and do some stamping. We're going to get our Memento Tuxedo Black because everything needs colored. We're going to start with our sentiment. It says, hope your birthday is totally awesome. We're going to put that down here. And then we're going to take our standing up turtle. I'm going to put that over there and make sure I have enough room for my sentiment strip. Need our other standing up turtle. We need the June rose or whatever month of flower you're making your card for. In this case, I'm doing June. I need 2 party hats. Whoops. I need 2 full party hats. A microphone. And a cake. And then I need 3 balloons. Okay, this is a half sheet of cardstock I'm using. Okay, so you can get all of the images that you need on a half a sheet. All right, and then you'll need to color these. So these are our colors that we're using in the Stampin' Blends, and then I also have a Coastal Cabana watercolor pencil because we don't have Coastal Cabana in our blends. And I'm using a Crushed Curry Stampin' Write marker, again, because we don't have Crushed Curry in our blends. So let me show you where I used those, okay? So for my pencil, I took and I colored in the background of the shell on both turtles. Okay, so I'm just gonna color this in, and notice I keep turning my pencil. That keeps me from getting a flat spot on my pencil lead and keeps my pencil sharper longer. Okay, so I would do that on both my turtles, and then I would go back with my colorless Stampin' Blend and very carefully try not to hit the black lines. Sometimes the alcohol will make it smear a bit if it's not completely dry. Okay, and then to clean the tip of your blend, just take a piece of scrap paper and scribble till it's clean. Okay, so that's what I did with my pencil. Now with my marker, I took the crushed curry and I just put a tiny little speck of the crushed curry at the base of each candle. And then I went back with the light lemon lolly. And I'm just going to fill that in each one. That just gives me a little bit of dimension on my candle flames. Okay. For my rose, I took a light Calypso coral and a dark petal pink. I just want to show you this quickly. And I just went in here and put some Calypso coral, trying to make it look a little bit like a peace rose, but not totally. And then I'll just fill in the rest of that with my light petal pink. Okay. All right. For my microphone, the only thing I did to color that in was I took a Wink of Stella glitter brush and gave it a little bit of sparkle on the tip. Okay. All right. So once you get those all finished, this is what they should look like. So you've got this, and there's dies for all of these items. You don't have to fussy cut anything. The dies are all in the die set, the Stampin' Die set. So we've got all of our balloons, cake. We've got 2 hats. I colored the 2 hats separately because I kind of was going with one turtle is kind of girly and one turtle is boyish. So if you'll notice, my girl turtle, she has calypso coral on her nails. And my boy turtle, just his nails match the back of his thing. I just used my pencil. Okay, so those are our pieces. And we're going to put those on our card here in just a second. Let me get these out of the way. Do you have any questions on the coloring? On how I did anything? I want you to take a look at the dies. The balloon die in this set is this one right here, but if you cut this piece and this piece and this piece, you can make a banjo. Okay, we didn't do that today, but there you have it. Okay, so with that, hope your birthday is turtly awesome. I took the smaller of the two larger banner dies out of Stylish Shapes, and this is a very tight fit. So when you do this, you want to line the top up and the bottom so you can see that is turtly awesome. Put your edge right there on the Y, the edge right there on the H, and when you run that through, you'll get a perfectly sized banner. Okay. All right. Cool. That's done. That's done. All right. We can start assembly. We're going to bring in our Stampin' Pierce mat. We're going to take these 3 balloons. This is this is Summer Splash, Petal Pink, and Calypso Coral. So I'm going to start with my Calypso Coral. And then I'm going to put my Summer Splash and Petal Pink. And I'm going to put those like that. I'm going to take my reverse tweezers from my Embossing Additions kit, and I'm going to hold those together. And I'm going to take my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I am going to make the 3 of those 1. Okay, now those aren't coming apart, they're just 1. And let's take for this guy and this guy. The cool thing about these dies is that when you look at your turtle, let me grab that die set, you will see that you have this extra little piece, and that is a cut line. Okay, you have it on the 2 that stand up, there's a cut line. And what that does is give your turtle the ability to hold things. Okay, so I'm going to take this rose and I'm going to stick this in his hand like that. And then we're just going to take and leave that like that. And then we're going to take a cake. We're going to put it up here, and I'm just going to take a little dot of glue right here on his hand and add the cake like so. And then we're going to take that little microphone and we're going to put this in his hand as if he's singing happy birthday. Okay, now let's put our party hats on. I do not like to have a white border when I am adding die cuts to die cuts. So I'm going to just trim off that white border on the bottom. I'm going to do that on both of the hats. That way when I put it on the turtle, it'll look like one unit rather than two. And again, we're going to take just a tiny bit of glue, add that to the hat. Put the hat on the head. Okay. And then we'll be ready to start adding these to our piece here. Okay. So I'm going to take this and flip this over. I'm going to get my Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to put a Stampin' Dimensional on the back to hold that microphone in place. I'm going to put another one on the cake. And then I'm going to take a mini and put it right here and cover the head and the hat so that they will have extra support. And then we're going to take and put some Stampin' Seal at the bottom. Okay, let's take these off. Probably should have done the other one first. Let's just set this up here until I get this one together. So I need to put this guy on first. We're going to do the same thing with this guy. We're going to secure that hat with a mini dimensional. I'm going to secure the rose. And we're going to put another little thing there. Okay. And we're going to add Stampin' Seal to the feet. And that's going to make them, give them a little bit of dimension and make them look like they're standing up. Okay, so we're going to put this about right here. I'm not going to set it down too hard yet. Oh, really? I should probably take the backings off if I expect it to stick at all. Okay, so we're going to put this about right here. Let's go ahead and set this one on here. Like so. Okay. And then we're going to take these balloons. We're going to get a piece of linen thread. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and stick. I didn't do that on the last one, but I'm going to do it on this one. I didn't raise this up, but we're going to do that. We need to get that stuck. And then we're going to grab a piece of linen thread. And we're going to stick these down. Okay. Let's get these stuck where we want them. Like so. Okay. Now that they're stuck down, I'm going to take this linen thread and I'm going to make a little bow here for my bouquet, for my balloon bouquet. And we're going to tie those together at the bottom here, like so. Okay, hopefully I have enough thread here. Let's make this easier on myself at this point. Give myself a cut there. It's easier to tie this when it's attached to the card and make this tiny little bow than it is if it's flopping around. Just a little tip for you there. Okay, and once we get that how we want it, then we're going to take a little glue dot. I'm going to roll that up and stick it in there like so. Okay, now we've got our little balloon bouquet, and we can trim our ends a bit. All right, there we are. Okay, so what we have left now is our sentiment. And again, we're going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals. And stick this right here, like so. Grab our card base. And then we're going to add this. Like so. Okay. And we might as well go ahead and add some of those shades of green hexagons. So let's grab those. Although I'm not sure we really need them. I'm going to take the lightest color. Let's see. Let's put one here and take one of the bigger ones. Turn it the right side up. It fell off. Put that about right there. And then put that right there. And there you have the card front. Now for the inside of our card, I took and did the ink blending. And then I stamped from the right words, which is right here. This is a new online exclusive. To someone worth celebrating every single day. And then I reached into my stash and found being awesome is just your thing. And that comes from a retired set called Happy and Heartfelt, if you have that on hand. I always encourage you for your inside sentiments to look through your stash and use what you have. Okay, so there we go. And for the envelope, happiness inside comes from sharing, loving, and caring. That is also an online exclusive. I used the ink that was left in my brush and inked that and then ran that through the embossing folder so that we have a coordinated set. All right, so that is card number 1. It's the most intense card. The next card is super simple. So I'll let you look at that for a minute. I'm going to put this away. We're hardly doing any stamping on the next card. It mostly uses the Designer Series paper and a couple of other little items. So let's go ahead and set this aside. Bring in our second card. All right. I hope you liked that card. Oh, good. I'm glad that's on your wish list. June 3rd. Don't order till June 3rd because you'll want to get that on the sale. Okay. So for the next card, besides Turtley Awesome, actually, I don't think we're using the stamp set at all. We're going to be using the Textured Notes dies. And what I have done is I have cut a piece of the Designer Series paper with the largest of the rectangles. And then using the Around It All dies, I use the 5th largest die and cut that in basic black. And then the very next die down, so the 6th from the largest, yeah, and the 7th from the smallest, 6th from the largest, I cut that in basic white. So 5th from the largest, basic black, 6th from the largest in basic white. Okay, after I cut that white circle, or yeah, wonky circle, I ran it through the exposed brick 3D embossing folder. Okay, this is one of my favorite folders, so that I have that texture. I was trying to make this look like a brick wall, sort of. Our sentiment comes from Beside Me. This is on the last chance list. It's on sale for $13, originally $26, so that's a 50% savings, and this is a great stamp set for the men in your life. Okay, and with Father's Day coming up, if you don't have a Father's Day stamp set, perfect at half price. Okay, and of course the last chance items are while supplies last. So again, we have a card base that is basic white. This time we're using it in the landscape orientation. As I said, I cut that largest of the Textured Notes dies out of the Designer Series paper, Turtley Cute. This is the pattern that has the marching band people on the back of it. And we're just going to put this right down here on our paper. So let's do that now. Okay, so I'll just set this on here. Hopefully get it straight-ish. Okay. I have a piece of Darling Duckling cardstock. This piece I cut at 4.5 inches and then I bannered it. So if you don't have the old retired banner punch, which is what I used, this one right here, you can cut up the center where you want that to go. So you would just cut to the center and then cut side to side and do that on both ends. I'm not getting rid of my banner punch ever. Okay, and I'm just going to take and stick this on here, and hopefully I can get this semi-straight in the center. It took a little bit of an effort earlier today for me. So we're going to put this here and hope that's about straight. And really what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my ruler here and see if that's relatively straight, putting a mark here and here so I know that's straight on that edge and straight on this edge. And then I should be able to just lean this up and that should work. It should actually be straight. It's a little hard to do on this wonky pattern. So now the next thing we're going to do is add our white circle, our white embossed circle to our wonky black circle. Okay. Then we can go ahead and add this to our card. I told you guys this was a pretty simple card. And we're going to put this here. Yeah, you should put it in your cart for sure. For sure. Okay, so we're just going to put that like that. So we've got those sticking out from the sides. And then I took from the Designer Series paper, there is a piece of paper right here. Just kind of a beachy barbecue theme. Okay, so I fussy cut a barbecue and our turtle chef. Okay, and it couldn't get any easier than this. We're going to put this down flat. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on my legs on my barbecue. Put my barbecue right here, like so. Okay. And then I'm going to take my chef and we're going to get some dimensionals. I'm using both sizes. I want to pop up the pancake turner is what I call them actually. I don't know what the total term is, but I call them a pancake turner. Okay, burger flipper, whatever you want to call it. We're going to put this right here. Like so. Got our burger guy here. And then we need a sentiment. So we're going to take a scrap piece of white, and from that Beside Me Last Chance set, we're going to take the sentiment Grateful for You all year long. And we're going to stamp this as straight as we can, because that makes it a little bit easier if you do that. Much better. I struggled. The last one I did so crooked it was crazy. Okay, so I'm not going to just leave that be. I'm going to grab those textured notes dies that we had earlier that made the large rectangle here. I'm going to take the smallest one of this, the one from the center. And you guys, it was too long. I just couldn't find one the right size. So what are we going to do? We're going to make it fit. So we're going to bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss. The mini this time, because I don't need the great big one. And it's much easier to do this with the mini. So we're just going to set this in here like so. Yeah, there's so many sweets, Tracy. I was surprised on how many. I thought some of those sweets were retired, but they're not. So we're going to take this now, and I've put my top plate. So I've got plate 1, plate 2, another plate 2 on top of my paper and die. Plate 2 on the top only goes as far as I want the cut to go. Okay, so I don't have, this is exposed. Okay, and then I'm going to roll this through. Okay, and then I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to take this off, and you'll see it's just a partial cut. Then I'm going to take my die, I'm going to put it back in those cut marks that are there. It's going to sit in there and lock. Okay, it should lock right in there. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Well, I might need just a titch more. There we go. I'm going to lock that in there. Tape it down. I'm going to go back in with a partial cut. Okay. This is how you get extra mileage from your dies when you can't find a die that you like for the sentiment and you don't like to fussy cut. So there we go. Now we have a die that looks like this, but quite a bit shorter. Okay. All right, now, when I went to put this on, I thought it was a little too white. Now, I also cut one out of the two-tone Darling Duckling. Okay, I thought this was a little too yellow. What do you think? Okay, so here's the white, stark white, Darling Duckling. And what I opted to do was take the Darling Duckling ink, my blending brush, and lightly ink. Okay, clean that up. I just thought stark white against the stark white. I don't know. Some people do that and it looks really great. To me, when I do it on my cards, it doesn't look really great. So we've got this. I thought that was just a little too off. Even though this is Darling Duckling paper, I just didn't like it so much. What do you think? Shall we use this one? Okay, the ink blended one. Okay, cool. Let's go with that. It's not stark white, but it's not real dark either. It just kind of blends in nicely. And we're just going to put that right here. Okay? And then to finish this card off, we're going to take those hexagons, wherever I set them. My goodness, what did I do? What did I do? How do things get up and walk away? I bury them, that's what happens. Where did they get buried? I cannot find them. I don't know where I put them, and my desk isn't even a mess. There they are right there in front of my eyeballs. Okay, here we go. So let's add these. And on this card, you guys, this is a weird green. That's why I used a white background, because the paper says that the greens in here are garden green and Granny Apple Green. And this paper did not say garden green or Granny Apple Green to me in any way. So that's why we went with a white background. I didn't like the black background. I tried that. But we're going to go with the darkest of the hexagons on this card. And we're going to start up here and put that in one of those light little spots. I'm going to take the large one here. I'll put it down here in one of the centers of there. And then I'm going to take another smaller one and I'm going to put right there. Okay, there is the front of our card. Now, this card could easily be a Father's Day card. If you have a father that you would like to give something like this to, or it becomes a masculine birthday card just by what you put on the inside. That's why I did grateful for you all year long, because you can make it a Father's Day card, or you can make it a birthday card, or just a thank you card. So for the inside piece, because I'm not putting a sentiment, because I don't know what I'm using this for sure, I just took a piece of that same designer series paper and put on the piece of white here. And then I'm just going to add this to the inside of my card. Like so. And then for my envelope, I took again from the Sharing Loving Crafting stamp set and stamped in garden green just to brighten your day. And then on the envelope flap, I just embossed with no color. Okay, so there is our second card with almost no stamping. All right, so that's a quick and easy card to put together. Let's grab our first card. We'll bring that back in. Put these two together here. And that is where we're at for tonight. Thank you, guys. I'm so glad you liked that. And yeah, that's a great way to use the DSP. You are correct, Jennifer. Okay, so Thursday night, I'll let you know if I'm not going to be on. Be sure to check my Facebook page. Ron is on vacation. As of today, the kids don't have school tomorrow because there's been a water issue and they cannot go to school because all the water in town, on that side of town, on the school side of town, has to be boiled to be used. So they can't have the kids at school. And I don't know what Thursday holds. So I actually have kids all day tomorrow. So there won't be any creating going. In fact, we're thinking we're going to the beach. So we'll see how things go for Thursday. All right. Be sure to check my Facebook page and I will keep you updated. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you soon. Good night. Thank you for the hearts.